15 years ago, I was told there was nothing left. No reason, no conscience, no understanding, in even the most rudimentary sense of life or death. Good, right, wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face, with blackest eyes, the devil's eyes. I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up, because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
Listen, when you hear that intro, you know it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, right?
I love it, man. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Let's Talk Movies. We're your hosts. I'm Brad.
I'm Miguel.
And welcome to episode number 12 of Purely and Simply Evil, second episode of season 2. This morning, we are talking The Greatness That Be, A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. It's definitely one of the most discussed movies in this franchise. I love this movie. I've come to really appreciate it for kind of what it is, even though, I mean, there's a million things wrong with it, but it's a really fun ride. And I think Freddy is at his greatest in this movie, even if they kind of rewrote the rules. So, but we're going to talk about it, man. We're going to get there. We're going to take a deep dive into this movie. So Miguel, buddy, how are you doing this morning? Happy Saturday morning.
Happy Saturday morning. Yeah, we're ready to talk about this. Because I know we're gonna have two polar opposite opinions of this fucking movie. So yeah.
Which I didn't expect, by the way. I actually, going into it, I thought that you were gonna really like it.
Yeah, guys, I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like it.
Wild it is. He was not a fan, and that kind of makes me curious. I thought you would really enjoy the Nightmare movies, maybe even a little bit more than Halloween, because we've said this before. This is part of the purpose of this show and how this show came to be. Was, I'm a big horror fan. Miguel in the past has not been, so it's like introducing you to it as well. But I really thought, just because these are, and I don't know, maybe as we go on, you'll enjoy the Elm Streets more, just because they get so wild and crazy. Like we're not even to like the crazy yet. You know what I mean? Part 3 is where we really start to.
Yeah, like they set the bar really low for me, so I could see this I could see this going either way.
So I don't know. And for me, like the Elm Street movies, and I guess we might do a ranking at some point, but I mean, honestly, for me, they kind of go almost in order. I mean, 2 and 3 are kind of interchangeable for me. Like I don't really, I don't know. Depending on the day, I would put 2 over 3 or 3 over 2. I mean, who knows? So, Art Wishwood is with us, buddy. He says, Daddy Bratty and Mommy Miguel. So we know in this relationship, I'm Daddy and you're Mommy. Let's just say that.
Boy, if you think I'm catching, you got another thing coming, you fucks.
I hate you.
No, do you know what's even more funny? Is the fact that, like, say what you will, but guess what? I want you to, like, Brad's nickname on my phone, he gave it to me. Oh no, not him.
I didn't give it to you.
One of his students. He told me a story about one of his students that called him couldn't figure out his. No,
you're gonna get me fired. This was not one of my current. This was not a student. This was from college. This was like when I was in college. Somebody in college gave me that name.
Well, someone gave him that name because he couldn't say his name, so they called him Big Puppy Bratty Daddy, and Brad told me that, and I was like, dog, I'm gonna let you know that's now your name on my phone. So since then, since college, it's been Big Puppy Bratty Daddy. So there you go.
College is a fun time. It's an interesting time. Art says this is going to be the morning's hottest court case. I don't know about that Johnny Depp case, man. Dude, I am
watching hottest course case.
Course case?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, whatever. I am loving watching Amber Heard make a fool of herself on live TV. Like, I absolutely love it, because I really think this is going to come out well for Johnny. I do. So, and he's got ties to Elm Street too. So we're still on topic, right?
Yeah, right, for sure. And I don't know. It's just the whole fucking court thing is fucking cracking me up. It's just the way they have to act in court is hilarious, because I remember it got to the portion where they were talking about like, you know, how Amber Heard like literally just dropped a deuce on his bed.
Yeah.
And Johnny literally couldn't say that, so he had to say like fecal matter delivery on my mattress. I was like, you really couldn't let him say the bitch took a shit on my bed?
There was a meme, and it was like Johnny Depp walking into his bedroom in the morning, and he walks in, and it's Jeff Goldblum at Jurassic Park when he's standing in front of the thing, and he goes, "That is one big pile of shit."
That's one big pile of shit.
Bro, but it's like if you watch her lawyer and stuff, though, like they're like making fools of themselves.
Bro,
like,
Johnny is so fucking popping that like Amber Heard's lawyer is a fan of Johnny Depp.
But it's not even, I don't even think it's that. It's just like the questions that they've asked, like the one video I was actually watching this morning, it was like a 10-minute clip. And they have, I forget who it was. They've had so many people up on the stand now, but there was some guy on the stand and he's like, so, you know, he was standing in the foyer or whatever. And he was like, you know, and Mr. Depp, he had his penis out, right? Mr. Depp was trying to urinate and he was like, well, I think I would have known if he had his penis out. So no. And Johnny just started laughing. Like the whole court just started laughing.
Hearsay.
You know what I mean? Like they're doing it. But like he's objecting to like his own questions and stuff. Like it's it's such a mess, man. I'm happy for Johnny, man. And again, we know he's not a perfect dude, but I mean, who is? You know, he's had his issues, but I think he's been really poorly treated. I mean, you know, people are so quick to judge other people, especially when they're in the celebrity limelight, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly.
I just don't
like this whole thing is fucking ridiculous because there's plenty of like cases like this being brought all over the fucking globe or nation, and it's just it blows my mind that like when I think of lawyers, they're like supposed to be like really like hardcore, like professional stuff like that. But then you watch this case right here, it looks like a fucking playground.
Yeah.
Like it's like a bunch of kids just arguing at one another. It's like, bro, this almost looks like European Parliament. No offense,
but
guys.
Like it's the same thing. Like I did our 71st episode last night, and like it's the same thing. Like Jeffrey Dean Morgan actually got on Twitter and roasted people because of how mean they're being. They're all because like with the Walking Dead thing, like Melissa McBride's left the Daryl Carroll show, and you know, and it wasn't like she wants to leave. Like they're looking for other opportunities to like use Carol, but they're filming in Europe, and she can't move to Europe right now. And everybody's like, Norman Reedus is just greedy now. He thinks the show is his now that Andrew Lincoln's not like the main star anymore. And he's trying to boot her out so he can get all the money and top billing. And I was like, bro, have we been watching the same cast for the last almost 13 years? You know what I mean? Like, come on. I sincerely doubt that, especially like when you look at like how much of a relationship all of these people have had. I mean, they have given almost 13 years of their lives to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't understand it. And the same thing with Johnny Depp. Like, so like he is one of the most beloved people on the planet. And suddenly, you know, even Disney, like I disagree with the way Disney handled it. Like, you know, and I think people are coming back around. I mean, I think the majority of people are in Johnny Depp.
Nah, dog, he lost Pirates, he lost all that shit.
I know, and it's a shame because like
I tell
that's
you
already
what,
done, you know.
If you want to buy something, if you want to support a brand, support Sauvage Dior, because they're the only ones who stuck with Johnny Depp. Even through all of his court cases and all of this bullshit, like back when it was like high about him, he was still having commercials. He was still on commercial with Sauvage Dior. I was like, bro, I need to buy me a bottle. I even like that smell.
We've talked about this like on the show before. Like I was a huge Pirates of the Caribbean fan, like massive, loved him. And he was, you know, it kind of makes me a little emotional, like when I watched it, because he was like, you know, I've already lost, like no matter how this court case turns out. Like he was like, I wanted to give Jack Sparrow a goodbye, and now I can't do that anymore, you know. Like, and it's just like, damn, man, like such a talented, good guy. And he's also, if you want to support him too, he's also got these, I don't understand the whole NFT thing. I'm not going to pretend I understand crypto and all that, but he's got like, he's a really cool artist, and he does all these, he does like, you know, abstract art and
paintings.
Yeah. He does picture. I mean, he actually paints it, but they sell them, I guess, is the NFT things, like, you know, and it's pictures of celebrities and encounters he's had and just, you know, all these different things. But
I mean, that's pretty cool.
If you want to support Johnny,
that's one way to get out of your contracts.
So, Art says, Miguel, is that wine? I approve. Are you drinking wine this morning at 10:30, a little after 10:40?
Bro, dog, it's Perrier.
And he also likes my cup. Thanks, man. I'm drinking this pumpkin spice tea. I was in the mood for.
We are so off season right now. It's not even funny.
Who cares? I don't care.
Yeah. Well, it's
always Halloween in my house. So
yeah, I'm trying to cut off like a lot of my soda drinking because that shit really do be making you bloated. So yeah, I pretty much drink like regular water now.
That's fair.
I'm so white, it's fucking insane. Pellegrino and Perrier.
I get it. Art says, I love the Pirates ride at Disneyland. Always a good, fun time. I used to question whether those people eating at the restaurant at the beginning were real or robots. I've never been to Disneyland. Like, I'm from Florida, so I've always been a Disney World guy. I'll always be of the mindset that Disney World is superior. But we haven't been in. It's been probably going on a decade since I've been. But
you better hurry up for prices fucking skyrocket.
Oh well, they've already skyrocketed. I mean, that's too late for that. I actually was just talking to my parents. I was like, I really want to go back, like take like a big family trip. And
what they say, you need to take a loan of $1 million so you can afford it.
You got to take that Donald Trump loan in order to go. It's ridiculous, and it didn't used to be that way. Walt Disney's probably rolling in his grave because that was not how he wanted it. He wanted Disney World to be for everybody. You know what I mean? Like he felt like everybody should have the chance, like to go to this place that evolves. It evolves over time, but whatever.
And now that it's like not self-governing and has to pay taxes, the price is going to go the fuck up. Hey, if you think prices are high, just wait. Dog.
And Florida residents are going to be pissed because they have to pay those taxes now. Like they're paying for all of Disney World's stuff that Disney World used to. You know what I mean? It's crazy, man.
DeSantis, fuck you, dog.
I don't know
that was a shot in the foot. I don't know what the fuck's wrong with you, dog. That was a shot in the foot. I'm not even a Floridian, and I know that was a bad move.
Well,
he said, you know what? Disney's too powerful. We need to put a stop to it.
You think you're gonna?
Wait, all of my people. Wait, all of my citizens are not gonna pay for it. I feel like you just helped Disney with world domination right there.
I know, right? Like it's arguably the most right up there with Apple and whoever else. Like
Yeah, exactly. So it's like
influential company on the face of the planet. But whatever.
Do you remember my fucking rant about like how Disney takes over the world? Like I read the script of how I was thinking about like rewatching that after like I got the news that Disney was no longer like self-governing. I was like, that's how it starts. You try to take their power away and then they take over.
Of World War Disney. Everybody's worried about Russia, but this is World War Disney. They're about to take over the world. It's going to be like the Ultron robots, but it's like, do you remember the picture where it's
Mickey
got
bots? That's what it is. They call them Mickey bots.
It's like the Mickey statue, but it's it's like SWAT team people, but like the things have ears on them, and it has the Mickey. It's got like the Mickey Mouse, like the Disney logo and stuff on it. Like that's awesome, man.
I can imagine like a bunch of animatronic Mickeys taking over the world, and the only person that could save us is Nick Cage because of Willy's Wonderland. The way he rocked their fucking socks off, I could see that.
I need a movie that's Nick Cage versus Mickey Mouse.
Watch Willy's Wonderland because it's damn near the same. Literally, I'm sure I've heard that sound in that movie too. So,
Goofy, open this door. The TikTok, Mickey, open this door right now. No. You just hear like the sound breaking. Art Witchwood, is there a Knott's Berry Farm in Kentucky? I don't know what that is. So probably
Knott's Berry.
I don't know. There might be.
I think that's a vineyard, isn't it?
Is it? Let's see. Knott's. Wow, I can't type. I hate everything. Oh, it's a theme park. It's a theme park. No, there's not one in Kentucky. Is Kentucky Kingdom still open? I never went there. Is that still
Six Flags, Kentucky Kingdom? Yes, it's still very much open, my guy.
Where is that? I don't even know where it is. Is it in Louisville or Bowling Green? Where is it? I've never been there.
No, Six Flags Kentucky Kingdom is in Louisville, and then Kings Island is in Cincinnati.
I know where Kings Island is. Kings Island is actually a little north of Cincinnati.
Oh, fuck off. Ohio's only known for Cincinnati, so eat my ass.
That's fair.
Yeah.
What about Cleveland and Columbus?
Cleveland, Ohio? Yeah, no, get the fuck out.
Do you remember listen, we went to Cleveland, Julia and I, on vacation. God, when was that? It was, I guess, in the fall. We went to Cleveland. It was cool. I don't understand why everybody hates on Cleveland. It was a cool place. It was cool, man. We enjoy. I mean, it's very. I think part of the problem, it's very working class, but like, I mean, come on, just because it's working class, that doesn't mean it's bad. You know what I mean? We went to the Christmas Story house. Like,
It's just the fact that you have a multitude of different other options to go to.
And everybody
I
I've
mean?
ever told has had that same reaction. Why would you go to Cleveland? I was like, what is this, man?
Yeah. Yeah.
I always think of we laughed about this. Do you remember when Tosh.0 was on? And Tosh,
Isn't it still on?
I don't know if it's still on. It might be. There was a video and it was like talking about, it was a joke, like a music video talking about how like crappy Cleveland is. And it was like, come on down to Cleveland town, everyone. You can buy a house. You said something about you can buy a house for the price of a VCR. It's just like how it's just working class. It's a nice city. It's just, there's a lot of factories, a lot of smoke, lots of smog, it's just that kind of place. But I mean,
Yeah, keep selling me, dog. Keep selling me.
It's no different than a Chicago or an LA or a New York or, you know what I mean, somewhere like, or Miami.
You find me going to like Chicago or LA, fuck all that.
Bro, I'd rather go to Cleveland than Atlanta. I can tell you that. Atlanta is garbage.
At least Atlanta has some
JT, I'm
excitement.
sorry. Don't hate me.
I was gonna
But
say, be careful. At least
I know.
Atlanta has some excitement over there.
Okay, I shouldn't say it's garbage. I apologize to anybody who lives in Atlanta. I shouldn't say that. Which
Well,
I'm from
JT,
Florida.
I'm sorry.
I think Florida
Don't unsubscribe.
So, which I actually am from Florida, so I can say that. But all right, let's do this. Let's talk A Nightmare on Elm Street Part.
Did you? Oh, sorry.
What? Did I what?
I was gonna say, like, did you hear that? Did you hear that Florida is now one of the most expensive states in the world?
Oh well, yeah.
To live in,
bro. It's nothing. Like, Florida is one of the most screwed up places on the planet. Like,
yeah,
it's
like,
literally,
I don't know how to
like,
explain it.
Like where we lived in West Palm Beach, you could literally go and be in like one of the worst ghettos you've ever been in your life, and then go a street over, and it's like $3 million houses owned by rich white people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's literally like 100 feet away. You cross the street, and it's because what's happening is like everybody is buying up all the land on the coast, like on the beach, and that's all privately owned now. Like like I was talking with my grandmother about it, before she passed, like when I went like a couple years ago. I mean, literally, like the airport in West Palm Beach, like they had to close it like every week because Trump would fly in there, and it was like, it's killing business. But like the public beaches that I remember, first of all, the one public beach is just completely gone. It's washed away because climate change, and all of the other ones are now private beaches. So it's like you have like one little mile stretch of public beach that you can really go to if you want to. So I don't know. Florida's messed up. Everybody's like, why would you have left Florida? And I was like, bro, it ain't it. Like, it's not. It sounds great, but it ain't it. I promise you, it's not.
Yeah, if he would have stayed like another couple of years over there, he probably would have turned out, on the news, and it wouldn't even say his name. It'd just be Florida Man. Brad would have turned into a Florida Man.
How do you know that? I could have moved to the Everglades and become like a gator wrestler. That would have been cool.
Exactly. You'd become a Florida Man. You'd be like, Florida Man, loses his leg after trying to arm wrestle an alligator. Like, how the fuck did that
Out
work?
there
Like,
sleeping in the Everglades, probably getting malaria and whatever else. But anyways, I digress. Let's talk about Freddy's Nightmares. For Freddy's Nightmares, that's the wrong thing. Freddy's Revenge. Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge, released November 1st, 1985. Written by David Chaskin, directed by Jack Shoulder. Wes Craven did not come back for this one. Which, interestingly enough, though, Jack Shoulder also directed Alone in the Dark, which was another New Line Cinema horror flick, but it was also his directorial debut, and I think that's a pretty successful movie. Was that a video game first?
Alone in the Dark?
Yeah. I forget. Look that up. I forget if it's a video game first. Interestingly enough, Freddy's Revenge did not do super, super hot. Again, it's just fun to look at it. 33% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes, 41% tomato meter. So the critics' reviews
it was
are
a
actually
video game first.
I thought so. You'll find this interesting. The critics' reviews for Freddy's Revenge were actually a little bit better than the audience reviews, which is kind of strange because I think typically it's the other way around, especially for horror flicks. But
That's
The
fine.
critics,
You know why? Because the Hollywood Foreign Press, they're all a bunch of fucking vegetables.
yeah. The critics' consensus on Rotten Tomatoes says an intriguing subtext of repressed sexuality gives Freddy's Revenge some texture, but The Nightmare loses its edge in a sequel that lacks convincing performances or memorable scares. Which I disagree with that. I don't completely. I don't agree with that at all. But anyways, this movie had a tiny little budget of $3 million. Tiny,
Bro, quit saying tiny.
little-
3 million. If you think 3 million is tiny, get the
a
fuck out of
small
my face.
loan of $1 million or $3 million from New Line Cinema. It was great. We thought it was gonna be great. But it had, I mean, slightly bigger, but bigger.
Bidger? Yeah, you
Slightly
got this.
bitcher, slightly bitchier budget. It had a slightly bigger budget than.
Oh, this
Elm
movie
Street
was
1.
bitching for sure.
It had a slightly bigger budget than Elm Street 1, which I think was only like $1 million. You know, which we say only $1 million. To me, $1 million is insane, but you know,
When we're
for a
thinking
Hollywood
studios
production,
term, yeah.
you know, and now we have Marvel movies that it's like, how much did they cost? They cost $700 million for like Infinity War and Endgame. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
Yeah.
But they were hoping that Nightmare 2 would make 70% of what the original made. Because you got to think the original was insanely successful. The original did really, really well. And it made $30 million. It made 150% of what Nightmare 1 made. So once again, Freddy was still really popular. People came back, you know. They wanted to see what was next. And this, as we kind of said,
instead they got a dildo straight to the face.
I don't know if it was that. I wouldn't say I wouldn't go that far. I think it's very debated because, you know, obviously for one thing, like Freddy is insanely good. Like for me, and we kind of said this in our commentary, which is out now, by the way. I think Freddy is insanely good in this movie. Like he is definitely peak Freddy. I think he looks the scariest. He sounds the scariest. He feels scary in this movie. And he's got this like he plays with you a little bit more in this movie. Like he's really sinister. He's really weird. Some of the things he says, you're like, what the like what?
He's the definition of don't play with your food.
What do you mean?
He just plays with his food.
Well, and he doesn't necessarily want to kill you right away. Like he wants a couple times to mess with you and talk to you and like get under your skin and make you like it's like the Bane thing. I will break you, and then you have my permission to die. Like that's how he is. Like he wants to like get in your head first, and then he'll kill you. You know?
Yeah.
But you know, one of the things that is really debatable about this movie, and one thing that I know a lot of people don't like, is that they took all of the rules and the world that Wes Craven had set up, and they basically flipped it on its head. You know, all of the rules about what you can do in your dreams, the rules about, you know, I mean, most of the time we see Freddy in this movie, especially the latter half of the movie, like he's in the real world. You know, it's not a dream. I mean, you got the body, I got the brains, and the laugh where he pulls his skull back, and like you get all that stuff. But
that's a dream.
A lot of what happens, Jesse going in his sister's room with the glove on, like a lot of what happens is in the real world, you know, and that's very night and day if you think about the rules that were set up in Elm Street 1.
Yeah, it was no longer like a dream thing. It was just like a demonic possession thing.
It basically was.
I didn't really vibe with that. I thought it was weird.
So
I thought it was out of the context of the lore of Nightmare. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. And, you know, I think you'll be happy like moving forward because they do go back to that. This is really the only film that deals with the real world a whole lot, except for, again, the remake, which the remake kind of does that, but it's still, the remake goes a little bit more scientific with it because like if you stay awake for, you know, long period of time, you know what I mean,
you'll start hallucinating.
You start to go crazy. Like you're hallucinating. I forget what they called it. There's a name for it because like they go to the library and they look it up. But like you're dreaming while you're awake. You're hallucinating.
Yeah, it's called "Bitch Go to Sleep."
And like Freddy is coming at them through their hallucinations. You know what I mean? And it's really cool. It was done really well. And there's also the fact that this is an oddly sexual movie for a movie with little to no sex scenes in it.
This is overtly sexual movie.
Like, and there are very obvious sexual undertones that resonate throughout this whole thing. Like, for and you could look at the whole movie essentially as Freddy being a metaphor for Jesse's like repressed sexuality. You could. And the funny thing about it is that if you watch Never Sleep Again, nobody on the cast and crew, they were like, we had no idea this is what we
That's
were
a
doing.
horseshit lie right there.
They're like,
that is a horseshit lie.
Completely went over their head.
They had that
for the writer Daniel Chaskin, or is it David or Daniel Chaskin? I forget. David Chaskin, excuse me. He was like, I kind of knew what I was doing. He was like, I may not have ever really said it or acknowledged it, but he was like, it was kind of there.
Yeah, they dead ass knew. Like in interviews, they're like, so did you think that there was a lot of like sexual undertones? And they're like, no, there's no way we could have known. No way.
Well, and the one guy, like, I think he was one of the producers or something. He was like, he quoted the part where the gym coach is attacked by balls in his office or whatever.
See,
and
you literally
like,
talk about that, but you fail to realize the fact that he was stripped naked and whipped by a towel.
And spanked with the towels.
Yeah,
and that's his best scene. Well,
what?
he is slashed. He is slashed with the glove too. Freddy slashes him.
That was the kill moment. But like you were talking about balls and shit. I'm talking about when he got like stripped down and whipped by a towel. Like that's more overtly sexual than the balls.
But here's one of the
with
things,
the balls,
though.
you were low key like AP English, like dissecting it and shit. It's like the balls represent, human, sexuality, and their balls hitting the coaches over sexuality.
We don't need to go into detail about what that would be.
That's damn near felt like a
commentary. This one's not going to be safe for work.
Not safe for work, yeah. NFSW, yeah. I learned what that was last week.
It works for it. You know what I mean? Like that. Excuse me, I'm still getting over allergies. It works in this movie. Like I feel like I hate you. I like it. I don't know. I like it. I think it's pretty cool. Part 1 was so successful that they were like, we got to do a sequel right now. Like, and Wes Craven didn't really want to do a sequel. What's interesting is that, with Friday the 13th, they were like, we want sequels. We want to do sequels. We want to do sequels. Like, they purposely left it to do sequels. But Wes Craven and John Carpenter were both like, I never planned on doing a sequel to Halloween or A Nightmare on Elm Street. They're like, this was just it. You know what I mean? And Bob Shea is kind of the Mustafa Akkad of the Elm Street franchise. He's the one who kept it going. And the shareholders of New Line Cinema were also really, they were really into it as well. So they were like, we gotta keep this thing going. It's a cash cow. And I mean, it's the same thing like with, it's the same thing with the whole talk of what comes after Halloween Ends. I mean, of course, I think Halloween Ends should definitely be the end of this timeline. I'm not saying, I don't think we should do it. Allison should get her movie after. It'll be like Halloween 18, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends, and then Halloween Begins, and it's Allison fighting Michael. Like, I don't want that. I want this to be the end. But Halloween is a cash cow. They're going to do they're going to reboot it. They're going to find a way. They're going to do a TV show. They're going to do Season of the Witch, which that's kind of what I'm gunning for. But, they'll find a way to keep it going. And that was kind of what they did with Elm Street. They will find a way to keep it going. I'm a little shocked that we haven't gotten any news about another Elm Street movie. Because the rights have, since Wes Craven has died, and because of that clause or the law that was passed in the 80s or whatever about, all of these 80s slashers revert back to their current owner for like after, a certain amount of time or whatever.
I didn't know about that. Is that the reason why the whole Jason thing's going on?
Kind of, yeah, because they're like, who is it going back to? Both writers I forget. Forgive me, I forget who's who. Sean Cunningham and Victor Miller are like arguing over who gets the rights. Like, essentially, Victor Miller was awarded the Friday the 13th. No. Yes. Victor, it's such a mess. I forget. One of them was awarded the Friday the 13th franchise. But the problem is the one, it's essentially stupid because they're just right back to square one. One can't make a movie without the other greenlighting it because it would have to be a remake of the original Friday the 13th where Pamela is the
Where
killer.
like yeah,
Using
where
hockey
Jason
mask,
did not talk about it.
hockey
Jason was
mask,
not talked about.
machete, grown-up Jason is that's not a thing. That was never, if you're looking at the original movie, Jason wasn't in the original movie. So it's like, I don't know. It's so stupid. That whole lawsuit was literally a huge waste of time. Art says they can start Halloween up again for the 50th anniversary in 2028. Yeah, I actually, again, one of the videos I want to do, I have an idea. And I'm trying to figure out how to present it, but hopefully
to the studios of Blumhouse.
No, not to. That's not what I mean. I mean on the channel, not to anybody. That's never going to get made. But I kind of have an idea, and I want to do a video where we talk about that. Maybe, hopefully for this October, but we'll see. Like I said, we got a lot of Halloween content coming this October. But I wouldn't mind a TV series before that. I don't know. I'm not quite on board with the TV series thing yet. I know a lot of people are like, do a Loomis Files thing where it's all about, Loomis go. But I mean, do we really want to see Loomis dealing with other patients other than Michael?
Yeah.
I mean, would you do like an X-Files Loomis type thing where Loomis goes and investigates all these weird things with like different people?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let
Loomis track down the Cult of Thorns.
See, that's how you would have to do it. You would have to do it as Art, I'm going to get back to your comment in a second. They would have to do it as using the original using the original timelines. You couldn't do a timeline to start from the beginning and go forward because it wouldn't make sense. You would have to do I don't know, you like you said, a serious drama starring Dr. Loomis. Art. That's great, but you have to find somebody to play Donald Pleasance, and that's big shoes to fill, which I guess Tom found it. Yeah, I guess Tom Jones Jr. could do it. But you also you would have to use those other timelines. You would have to do a Cult of Thorn thing. Like maybe it would be after Halloween 4 or after Halloween 6. Maybe that's how you bring Danielle Harris back into it. Maybe you do a sequel to H5, and you do what they did with 18, but you start from H4, you start from H5, or I don't know. That'd be cool.
Yeah, but it'd be kind of confusing for the normal viewers.
I know that's
that
the
TV
thing.
series would pretty much be for like hardcore fans that actually know what's going on.
That's the thing, and that's why I don't think an H4 sequel would ever get made, because people are going to be like, "What?" Like I don't, but like, especially if Laurie dies at the end of Halloween Ends, people are going to be like, "But she died." I don't understand. Hi Milo. They're going to be like, "But I don't understand. But where are we and what time? What year is it? What?" It's like Robin Williams coming out of Jumanji. What year is it? So I don't know. Art says, I hope they reprint the novelization for the 50th. Ooh, that would be the Dennis Etchison novel. That would be interesting. But again, another oddly weird sexualization of a character, though. Like, who? Michael.
Oh, yeah, true. Why is everything gotta be so fucking sexual in fucking horror movies?
In the novel, and the mask looked different, too. They said in the novel he had...
Oh, yeah, he was throbbing.
Like his throbbing... seed or something. It was like I forget. I did actually listen to the audiobook of it.
You listened to the audiobook of it? Jesus fucking Christ. Who read it? Mr. Gray?
No, it was actually pretty cool. They're on YouTube.
Oh, okay.
I'd buy it. That'd be cool. But yeah, he's got like makeup on. It's like
for women, it's 50 Shades of Gray.
But
for,
it's like a Joker
guys,
type it's like a Joker type deal though. Like they describe him as being like eyeshadow and lipstick.
What is he,
and
Robert
and it's
Pattinson's
like
Batman?
It's like, what? You know what I mean? Like, where did that come from? And he the stalking scenes are described as being very sexual as well. And he's like, he's throbbing, like waiting to strike. It's like, what the like who is writing these,
Yeah,
so,
it gets to the point where it's like, guys, stop using big words, okay? You don't sound cool. Like, please.
You try to say
the brother was at the end of the fucking alleyway, like, just watching her. That's it. That's scary enough.
Yeah. So originally a screenwriter, back to Elm Street 2, Leslie Boehm was tapped to write the script, but his idea was scrapped. So his idea, this comes from Wikipedia. My concept was an homage to Rosemary's Baby, which is pretty cool. I came up with the plot that had a new family move into the house, a teenage boy, his pregnant mother, and a stepfather the boy didn't get along with. So they used, I think they used some of the themes. I mean, you get
No, they didn't.
father they didn't come along with, the new family moving into Nancy's house, which
The new family moving in, yeah, but
later.
the family was not that, yeah.
No, it wasn't exactly the same. It was a real bloody, scary idea, much more physical and realistic because the dream reality stuff was less central to those movies then. My story was more of a possession. I almost said processional, a possession scenario with Freddy getting inside the mother's womb and controlling the fetus. Stay tuned. We'll come back to that in Elm Street 4. But New Line passed on it because executive Sarah Risher was pregnant at the time. And I understand that idea kind of upset her. So they went with David Jaskin.
She was like, I don't need no bad juju right now. It's my first child. Right? I ain't trying to.
Right. And that's the thing. We really
did. A kick or a kick out of her belly would probably freak her out if they did the movie. She'd be like, what is this?
I mean, we do come back to that in the Dream Master. Like, that idea was revisited. The idea that Freddy is possessing an unborn fetus, which is,
bro, we just go everywhere.
Very uncomfortable if you really think about it.
Yeah.
You know?
At that point, I'd take like Jason and space.
You would take Jason in space over Freddy possessing a fetus.
Yeah, that's fucking weird. The
fuck? Was it 4 or 5? The Dream Master, whichever one that is. What is 4? Because you have what? Elm Street 1, Freddy's Revenge, Dream Warriors. Which one is the Dream Master? I forget. What is Elm Street 4?
I don't know. This is your stuff,
dude. The Dream Master is 4. What's Elm Street 5? Oh, the Dream Child. That's why I was confused. And then Elm Street 6 is Freddy's Dead. Okay, I get that. Now, according to Never Sleep Again, I don't know if they wanted to ever bring back Nancy, but they said they never really had intentions to bring her back. I mean, do you think we could have done that, like a Halloween 2 scenario where they brought back like Jamie Lee Curtis to play the same role? Like, would you like to have seen that more than Jesse? To bring Jamie Lee Curtis back, like they brought her back for Halloween 2 to play Laurie again. I mean, do you think they should have brought Nancy back, like Heather Langenkamp, to play Nancy? Or are you glad that they went at different family, new kids, new everything? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I can see that. I think it's just like the horror community that's like so into like the whole Final Girl thing that they kind of want them to come back, but it's like,
well, but it also wasn't super the Final Girl thing wasn't like insanely established. Like the term Final Girl was not a thing when this movie came out. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
So, I mean, I don't know. I think it's kind of cool. I think it's cool we get a final guy. He's one of the only final guys in horror, you know? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. Sure.
What were you going to say?
Nah, the movie. We'll have to keep talking about the movie for me to talk about that because it just doesn't make sense right now.
Oh, now they actually started production, ironically, without Robert Englund, and New Line they were broke as hell, and they were trying to save money by not getting Robert Englund back because I think he wanted too much money. But if you that scene we were talking about earlier, the bathroom scene, with Coach Snyder, where he's attacked by the balls and then his pants are ripped off and he's spanked with the towel, his ass is all bloodied up with the towel, and then Freddy kills him. When you see Freddy walk out, like, because Jesse goes into the fog and then Freddy walks out, which is that's a cool idea, and that could have been cooler, except they actually started filming with another guy, and I don't even know his name. But they started filming with this other dude, and the dude, they said the dude was awful. He walked like Frankenstein. He's very like,
he walked like Nosferatu.
It just looks like he like levitates forward. Like he doesn't have like the, you know, the whole shoulder dip thing. Like he doesn't move and creep like Freddy does. Like you said, that Dracula Nosferatu like gangster type thing that Robert Englund was going for in the original. Like he just kind of like, I'm walking towards you now. I'm going to kill you. Like he had no I don't know. He had no balls.
He had no swagger.
Even when he even when he raises the glove to actually kill the coach, he's just like,
It was like a kid playing
know?
with like an action figure, like an old shitty action figure. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's like that kind of thing.
What kind of kid were you?
But that was actually the original guy. That wasn't Robert Englund, and that somehow got kept in the movie. And I think after that scene, they were like, "We got to get Robert Englund back. we got to get him back because this is that." Could you imagine? They're like, "Cut!" And he goes, "That ain't it, Chief." You know what I mean? They're like, "That ain't it."
Like, nah, man, you did great. You did great. Hey, we need to get Robert Englund back quick. No, dude, you did great. Yeah, good job. Why don't you go back to the trailer? And the trailer's like hooked up to a Ford Bronco, and they take him somewhere else.
Man, that was great. Good job. By the way, you're fired. Yeah, great job. Good. All right, let's move on to the next scene. Also, so that whole death scene, that was that could have been the first scene they filmed. Could you imagine being a crew member? You're like, we're rolling, okay. They're like, cue the spank, and you're like,
spank.
You're sitting there rolling.
Somebody definitely had to do that. Like, I know they probably like video them out, but like them shit whipping the towel to the coach, someone had to do that.
Well, and it's got some like, you know what I mean? It's got the sound to it, and it's I don't know, man. If that was, I could imagine somebody wrote like they're like roll camera, and they're sitting there rolling, and they're like, oh, like what? Oh, interesting. So I'm glad they got Robert Englund back because nobody could have done the "you are all my children now" and you got the body, I got the brains. Like nobody could do that.
That's
like
pretty good.
Robert Englund.
That's pretty good.
I mean? Nobody could have
pretty
done
good
that.
Freddy, man. Damn.
Well, it's iconic, man. It's like nobody could do that except for him.
You got the body, I got the brains.
What is he? I love when he. What does he say to the kid? Oh, you know what I hate though about this movie? It's one of the things I loathe about this.
Half of it.
When Freddy's fighting Lisa, it's a badass scene because Jesse's like he's coming back and he's like, Lisa, run, and he's like freaking out or whatever.
Again, it's like a werewolf scene right there.
It is. It's basically a werewolf story, but Freddy is the werewolf.
Yeah.
But when he falls behind the table and she's like, Jesse, and Freddy lifts his head up and smiles, it's like, oh, like that's awesome. Like that's really cool. And he's chasing her around the house and he's coming around the corners. Like, I love it when he comes around the corner because he's got such an attitude. Like he's just kind of being a dick to be a dick. You know what I mean?
He's like
she's actually scared and falling and trying to run away. And he comes around the corner and he's like, you know what I mean? Like he's like, he's trying to be weird. But I hate it when she's like, Jesse, I love you. And she goes to stab him, but she's like, she's like, you know what I mean? It's like, bro, what
it's
are
a
you?
Fake,
what?
It's a fake knife.
Him.
What else do you do?
But she doesn't put any force. She's like,
because he feels bad for killing Jesse.
You know what I mean?
Jesse didn't even want her.
I hate it when this badass demonic witch-looking Freddy looks at her and goes, I love you, Lisa. Kill me, Lisa.
Yeah, that shit.
I love you, Lisa. It's like, what just happened? We were doing so well. We were doing so well until that point.
Jesse seemed so scary and genuinely frightening, and then all of a sudden, Jesse comes like, I love you, Jesse.
I mean, when she falls and he jumps on her and he pulls her back towards him, and he bites her calf and licks up her leg. Like, that's weird. That's cool. But it's ruined when he goes, I love you, Lisa. It's like, okay, what? You know what I mean? I also think it's strange when he just dives through the glass. You know what I mean? It's like he sees that people are watching him and he's like, oh, and then he just dives through the glass and he's gone. And it's like,
that's what really fucking confused me. I was like, how the fuck is he able to get out of Jesse's body and do this?
I will say the rules don't make sense. They really don't. I mean,
because,
and you could
because
say
like
he's
if you think
ghost.
Because if you think about it, Jesse killed Coach. Jesse killed his boyfriend.
Yeah.
And Brian, I see no lies. And so whenever he jumps out of the fucking window, in that massive like terror scene, I'm in my head thinking, this is Jesse. Like, this is Jesse just fucking people up right now. Not Freddy. But
Listen,
people could see Freddy, but it's
do
actually
you
Jesse.
think in the final, "You are all my children now," that whole scene, were they the people at the party?
That's what I'm
Were
talking about.
Were they seeing Freddy or were they seeing Jesse? Because that's
I
another
think
kind
it
of
was
hot
Jesse.
topic.
It has to
I
be
think
Jesse.
it's Freddy.
By
Because
the laws of this shitty movie, it had to be Jesse.
if you ever met this writer, you'd be like, make it make sense.
That's all I'm saying. Like,
my only issue with that though is I feel like they would have recognized Freddy. Like, she knew she was not fighting Jesse. She was fighting Freddy. And because he came out of his body, you know what I mean?
no, that was for Jesse's boyfriend when he like ripped out of his body.
Yeah, but I'm saying when Jesse falls behind the table and Freddy lifts his head up and smiles, and then he starts to chase her or whatever, and she breaks the pot, like she breaks the pot on his head, and that's when he like tackles her and grabs her and like bites and licks her leg and whatever. Like, that was, I feel like that was Freddy, and I feel like at the end of it, they're seeing Freddy because nobody, like, I feel like if it was Jesse, they'd have been like, "Whoa, like Jesse, like, whoa, man, hey," like, but the guy that walks
They
up
did
to
that.
him, I know, but the guy that walks up to him, he's like, "Hey, man, hey, whatever you want, like, it's cool. We want to help. We want to help you." And of course,
Exactly.
that's when you get Freddy in the background, and he's like, and he's
I
like,
love that.
that's such a cool
that's what I
scene with the fire behind him.
Yeah,
you know?
Freddy's like, bro, who the fuck are you? Like,
Well,
fucking die.
what does he say when he goes, he help yourself, fucker? That's awesome. Like, I don't know. I don't think they were seeing Jesse. I feel like they were seeing Freddy. I do.
Mid.
I don't know. I kind of think they were seeing Freddy. But I digress. So the other thing, and we kind of just mentioned this a little bit, like, about Freddy with the makeup, and this kind of goes with what we were just talking about, actually. I don't remember if it was the same makeup artist, but they did change the makeup a little bit. And part of the thing was that Robert Englund kind of famously hated the makeup that they had to put him in. Like, all of the prosthetics and the makeup and all the stuff they had to put on him for Freddy. He hated it. He couldn't stand it. And, like in Never Sleep Again, like it said, like, especially for like the third, fourth, fifth sequel, it got to the point they would yell cut for the day. And they had to have like PAs, like production assistants, like walking behind him as he left set, because he would just start tearing the Freddy makeup off of him because he couldn't stand having it on, and just stripping of all of it. So I think part of the reason the makeup looks different is because they had to find different ways to do it, because he hated it. But it works. The eyes are more sunken in, like, even if I pull up the thumbnail again, like if you look at him, like the eyes are kind of sunken in. His skin looks wet, which is how a real burn victim would look. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then you look
Like,
at the fucking hands and you're like, who is this? Fucking Sabretooth?
what do you mean?
No,
Does he
it's the
have
fact
nails?
it's the fact that they did away with the gloves. That's another thing, dude. Like, that's
Oh,
another
like the
thing right there.
prosthetic
It's the
glove
fact that
kind of thing?
it's the fact that Jesse found the fucking gloves and the fucking burner, and still, even when they found the glove, they just said, you know what, fuck the glove. Let's have the nails come out. Let's have the fucking
Oh yeah, I didn't like
daggers
that
come
either.
out of his fingers. I was
see
like,
what you're
bro,
saying. I forgot about that. Yeah,
what is the continuity thing that we're doing right here, guys?
I'm not
Also,
wild about that.
the bitch really said, you know what? I'm not even keeping this glove anymore. I'm keeping it at the house.
When
That was
Nancy,
another
when
thing.
they moved out, she was like, "I keep it. I don't want it
Yeah.
anymore. I don't want it." But yeah, I don't know. And something about it, like
Tell me why Jesse looks like he enjoys it in this picture.
Fred. I'm not gonna say what I was about to say. Never mind.
Bro, yeah, it looks like they're about to kiss.
The hat also looks better on him. The fedora looks
kiss.
good. Like, it looks a little bit better. I don't, dude. I can't wait till we get to some of these later sequels. Like, there's one point where like Freddy's sitting there eating a pizza, and he picks up a meatball, and it's somebody's face screaming on the pizza, and he's like,
oh my god. Oh my
He does such weird shit. I love it, man. It's awesome.
Weird.
It's awesome, man. But he's got like the elongated nose and the weird ears. Like he looks like a witch. He's got
He
the
looks
facial
like a
structure
gremlin.
of a witch, and it's awesome. It's really, really cool. So let's kind of go through like the plot of this a little bit. What did you think of the
Plot trash.
what that's not what I mean.
Okay.
What did you think of the way they tied in Elm Street 1 with the diary? And they've moved into 1428 Elm Street.
No, look, I'll
and
give them
like
respect.
Nancy's
I'll give this
diary and
movie
stuff.
respect right now because of that they finally mentioned Elm Street. Elm Street was not mentioned in the first movie.
Yeah, you actually did. You noticed that. I think when we were doing our commentary, you were like, they don't actually say Elm Street in this movie,
Yeah, there's no Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, no one ever talks about it. Like, but it wasn't until this movie where someone just mentioned, yeah, it's not, I live on Elm Street. And I was like, fuck, that's the first time I heard Elm Street in it's like these last two movies.
Well, I'll tell you what, and I always kind of thought this, like, and there's a moment, and I think it's in Freddy's Dead, like in the last of the original sequels, that they actually finally acknowledge this. Because I always kind of felt like, are we really going to say that this one street where he used to do his like sexual predator kind of thing, like, are we really going to say that this one street keeps him at bay? Like, you're safe if you don't live on Elm Street. But
you mean to tell me that damn Elm Street's fucking long?
Well, I was about to say, you mean to tell me that this demon that invades your dreams and your innermost thoughts can be held at bay by a street sign? Like, really? But like they do.
It's called demonic real estate.
Like at one point in Freddy's Dead, he actually like looks like somebody. I forget what they say to him, but they say something about like like they think they figured him out, and they say something to him, and he kind of laughs, and he says, like I think he's on a witch's broom, and he's like, it's doing like the Wizard of Oz type thing, and he's just being a dick, and he says, every town has an Elm Street, and he laughs, and it's like, okay, that's cool, like that's what I wanted to hear, like saying every town has an Elm Street, like he can go anywhere, he's not bound by what he did in his real life, you know what I mean? Like Freddy is more than that, and that's scary, you know what I mean? That's scarier than you're safe just as long as you don't move into Nancy's house, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, to be fair, in the first movie he did it in 4 different houses, but so I mean, it's interesting. I think it was cool, the whole diary thing was kind of cool, I guess. I think it's a little strange because we never saw, which, to be fair, we didn't need to see her writing in the diary. It was good. I mean, it worked. The whole possession thing it's interesting because we really do see, and Mark Patton did a really great job with showing like how this is affecting Jesse. You know what I mean? Like at first he's just scared. He's having the weird dreams, like the whole awesome opening at the beginning with the bus, where the bus just like, just flies out into the field and the earth collapses. And I used that scene in the trailer for season 2 of Purely and Simply Evil, where Freddy's the bus driver and he stands up and smiles, and he's taking the glove and scratching it on the roof or whatever, like, or the metal roof of the bus. Like, that's a really cool scene. You do get some cool dream sequences in this movie. But unfortunately they're all kind of at the beginning, and they're all Jesse. We don't get any dream sequences of anybody but Jesse.
Nobody
in this movie.
That's why I kind of like pushed the narrative of like a possession.
Yeah.
Like it was just Freddy fucking with Jesse.
There's 2 moments that really stand out to me from Freddy's dreams, from Jesse's dreams. It's the moment when he sees Freddy walking in his basement, and he goes to investigate, and he's like, Dad, and that's when we get that moment from the bottom left of the thumbnail right here, when
I'm your daddy now.
when he turns around and he's like, Daddy can't help you now or whatever, and that's when he says, you and I got a lot of work to do. I got the body, you got the brains.
That's when I was
he's
like
rubbing his face, and he's all up in his face and whatever, and like, that's
when I was
really
like, fuck,
cool
here we go with the possession thing. So I was like,
really don't like that, do you?
Not really, dog. I was like, bro, like I'm here for the dreams, dog.
So
Like that's what's
because
scary. This is just like another. This is just another demonic movie.
yeah,
Except the
well,
demon
and
is
like the
Freddy,
thing
and
is though,
he's a
like
little bit of a vibe.
in order to really fight Freddy, Nancy realized that she had to pull him out. Like she had to grab him and pull him out of her dream when she wakes up.
Mhm.
Jesse does never have to do that. He doesn't have
No,
to do
matter
that.
of
He just
fact-
has to relinquish control to Freddy, and magically Freddy's out of his dream. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
So that's an interest. That it's interesting. But that scene is cool. And originally in that scene, again, another not safe for work moment. Originally, I believe they said this in Never Sleep Again, or Robert Englund said this. I forget who said it. Originally in that scene, they wanted Freddy to take one of the fingers on the glove and slide it in and out of Jesse's mouth, like really promiscuously. And I think Robert Englund and Mark Patton were like, we're not doing that. Like that's
How
not
the fuck
happening.
did you
And
not know this movie was going to be so sexual?
I don't know.
How do
I'm
you
not
still hold to that
I
knowledge?
don't know. The more and more I think about it, I'm like, they had to have known. They had to have at least all been thinking, even if nobody said it out loud, because it's 1985. I get it, but even if they wouldn't have said it out loud, it would have been like, you know, how would nobody have noticed that at all? You know?
Yeah.
And what do you think if this movie would have come out today in this climate? I mean, do you think it would have been accepted, or do you think it would have been like, that's
No, not in the
pushing
slightest.
boundary? Really?
Not in the slightest. Not especially at the end, because people would then because what happened at the end.
He ends up with Lisa, and
Yeah.
So
so that's the
kind
fucking
of.
bullshit. So it does this over sexualization of like people coming out of it's like Jesse's like coming out story. And like how like the dad is like not understanding, like, oh, he just blah 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 blah.
What he needs is a good old kick in the ass.
Yeah, so he doesn't understand he doesn't understand what he's going through or whatever. So it's like and all of a sudden like Freddy coming out of his body is like him finally presenting his sexuality or some bullshit like that. And then at the end, it's like some weird fucking conversion therapy where fucking Jesse's girlfriend just kisses him or kisses Freddy, which is fucking gross as it is. Yeah. And then he starts burning, and then he starts peeling away, he's becoming a new man that finally goes with his girlfriend. And bro, if this movie was opened up today, oh my god, it'd get fucking shredded.
It would. You're probably because of that. If
with
they
a bunch of people that say they took AP English and they know fucking literature, fuck out of my face.
Well, but that's the thing. If they wouldn't have done that ending where he does end up with Lisa, and that's the resolution of the film, or so we think, because they got to have that twist ending in there. But if that would have been the moment, that wouldn't have. It would not have done well today. No. But even David Chaskin said in Never Sleep Again, he was like, at the point of the movie, this is going really bad. It's going really bad. He's possessed. All this bad stuff is happening. And then as soon as he ends up in a heterosexual relationship with Lisa, he's fine. You know what I mean? He goes to Grady. Freddy comes out and kills Grady. You know what I mean? And it's just it's wow. When you really step back and look at it, it's holy crap. It's wrong. You know what I mean? Looking at it, it's this is
the
actually
movie's so fucking stupid. It's so wrong, and so
okay.
stupid, and the underlining undertones of this movie is so fucking ridiculous. Jesse is over here making out with Lisa, and then all of a sudden he says, "I can't do this," and then.
Yeah, he runs to Grady.
The next scene, he runs to Grady.
And even
Grady's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing?
Grady says, so you mean to tell me she's sitting there waiting for you in the cabana and you're in here in my face in my bed?
Yeah.
He actually says that to you.
Yeah. And then he does this shit, which is so fucking weird. He does he's like, Grady, I need you to watch me sleep. It's it's fucking weird, dog. That's weird.
Yeah, dude. And Grady is a good guy, man. Grady was a good.
Yeah, you gotta respect Grady right here, man.
It started off weird because, first of all, they get in a fight, and instead of throwing a punch, Grady decides to rip his pants off, which is what?
Again,
and that's why we keep getting the weird Coach Snyder. He makes him do push-ups for everything, which is, again, odd, and. Then you get the whole hit the showers, dirt balls, and somehow you'll see them talking in their underwear or something, and Coach Snyder just comes around the corner and he's like,
Yeah, what is it about like 80s coaching, like them wanting to see all that? That's
You
fucking
know what I
weird.
mean? It's just weird. He was a very
Yeah.
odd character. Even when he sees him, listen, at it, like I think everybody can say this about like their profession, but like as a teacher, seeing teachers in movies makes me want to throw up sometimes, especially like this where he's so wrong. It's like, bro, you would never have handled something like that. Like if you know what I mean, the way he did, like when he catches Jesse in the open bar, you know what I mean? And he first of all he pours a beer
Bro,
in like
first
a
off,
like okay,
yeah,
that's wrong.
but then
He
second
goes,
off,
it's like, bro, that ain't
it's
how you pour
fucking
beer.
like coach like at like a leather boutier like fucking
Yeah.
thing. It's like, dude, that's a nightmare alone as it is. Like seeing your coach in a place like that.
Well, and he doesn't just like, hey, he's not like, what are you doing here? You know what I mean? He grabs Jesse's hand and he's like,
Yeah, like he enjoyed
and then we
that
cut and
moment.
he's making him run laps. It's like, bro, call his parents or call the cops. Like, why would you take him back to the school to run laps and then slap him and say, hit the showers? Like, that's weird. You know what I mean? And then he's getting out jump ropes. Part of me is almost like, what the hell was he getting? What was going on here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what weirdness was going on? Like, I don't understand.
Try to get them all warmed up and loose for the balls.
I don't know, man. I don't. That was a very strange subplot of this movie. I was not a Coach Snyder fan. Not to the actor. The actor did a fine job. He was great.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I think I forgot what I was about to say.
Okay, I was like,
no lie, I really did. I had something and then I was like, where did it go? But even the family, like the whole idea with that the family doesn't understand him, and like the dad is like he's on drugs, like he's like the real stereotypical dad who's like, he says what he needs is a methadone clinic, and it's the typical like the mom is trying to be understanding, but the dad is like when they find him out in the rain after Coach Snyder dies, and by the way, we haven't really talked. And listen, Mark,
blow right past that.
I'm a fan of like Mark Patton did a phenomenal job. Like he did great. We're in no way making fun of him at all. But Jesse's scream, like I love it when like Freddy kills Coach Snyder and he's like bound up and his back is slashed and he's bleeding and he's like this or whatever. And then Freddy slashes him and Jesse sees his hand and he's like, ah! His scream every time Jesse yells, it's like, ah! But I don't know, that's where the possession.
That's a scream king right really, there.
It is.
We don't have scream queens. King. We need a scream king, son.
Great. And that is the point where the possession thing really takes fold because it's like, oh my god.
Definitely like finally like established. Like, now. Yeah, like this is him killing people, not Freddy.
And I gotta say, Lisa's kind of dumb because he's like, I killed Schneider. I killed Brady. I killed all of them. It's me. And Lisa's like, no, it's not. What are you talking about? It's like he's standing in your kitchen, soaked in blood, with the glove on. And you're just like, you didn't do it. like, what? Like, my God, I love you. But if you ever came to my house and you were soaked in blood and you had a weapon and you were like, I killed all these people, I wouldn't be like, no, you didn't. I don't believe you. No way. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
But even like we said about the family thing, like when the cops bring it back, this yours, and the dad is like, Jesse,
yeah, this yours, as if it's like it's like a dog that just like is somewhere on the side of the street. It's like, guys, I found your son. It's like, no,
I know, right?
It's yours. It's like the second lost boy that they found in the rain that day or something bullshit like that. It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Well, and like even the dad is like he just thinks he's on drugs, but in a way, I'm sure this for anybody who has ever struggled with being able to come out or struggled with their sexuality, like I'm sure Jesse is actually like a pretty this is probably a pretty accurate, you know what I mean, like depiction of that. Like the whole his family doesn't understand him, they just think he's on drugs or he's mentally disturbed, you know what I mean, like that kind of thing. And like especially for the time period, like for 1985, like it's really done well. And that's why I think I'm kind of I think it works for this movie. Like it is weird and it's strange and it does have it makes some weird decisions like not even with the sexuality thing or with the rules from the other Elm Street films, but like if you look at like the bird thing, you know what I mean? Like what was that? And the toaster coming out like there's weird things happening to the house, you know what I mean? Like the lamp explodes, the bird is all kind of crazy or whatever, and it's flying around and it cuts the dad. The toaster lighting on fire, even like when it's not plugged in. Like he grabs the plug, he's like, it wasn't even plugged in, you know, and just it makes some very strange choices.
Yeah,
But
it's like, bro, what the fuck is this? Poltergeist too? Like, I'm confused as
yeah,
fuck,
though.
dog.
I mean, especially if it took inspiration from Rosemary's Baby and from what year did Poltergeist come out?
I don't know.
1982. Yeah, 1982. So I mean, that was a thing at this point. And you had The Exorcist, and you had other possession films like that. So I mean, it makes sense that that they kind of made choices like that, and that they did things like that. What did you think of what did you think of Grady? We haven't really talked about Grady a whole lot.
Grady is like the Johnny Depp. Like, he really didn't deserve half anything
He
that got coming to him.
Well, and it's the same thing. Like I genuinely I feel really bad for him. Like he's, you know what I mean? Like he's just trying to be a good guy. Like he's trying to help him out. And when he dies, and he's like, and he's screaming and Freddy, I love that scene. The transformation scene is good. Like it looks really good. But when Freddy stands up and he bends back down and picks up his hat, when he puts on his hat and just goes like that, and he just gives it that little like the brim, and he just tips the brim like that and smiles. Like that is such a good Freddy moment. That may be like the scariest Freddy moment, or one of the scariest Freddy moments. It's really good. But I feel bad for Grady. You know what I mean? He was just trying to be a good friend. Like he wasn't. I don't know. I don't know if Grady. You could argue that Jesse did have feelings for Grady. I don't know if Grady had feelings for Jesse in that same way, or if he was just really being a good friend to him. But
isn't that just the everlasting question in high school, guys?
Yeah, that's with anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unrequited love. That's like that's a good point. There's so many layers to this movie. I think that's what makes it so good. That's part of the reason I like it, is you can just sit and peel. It's like Shrek. An onion has layers. I have layers. You know what I mean? You could just sit and peel back layers of this movie, and it's fun to do that.
No, it's literally like an upside down cake that just fell on the ground. It's like there's so many layers, but it's such fucking just a giant mess.
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
another scene.
Another thing I really like too is like even after he kills Grady and Jesse screams and he's got the glove and he's covered in blood and stuff and Jesse's crying, when he takes the glove, when he looks in the mirror and Freddy's sitting there laughing and he's going like this, and Freddy's sitting there laughing.
That right there is probably a scary scene right there, because it's like Jesse now knows that Freddy's in control of his body.
Yeah.
And Jesse can't do anything. And even when he shattered the glass, Freddy was still there, like,
yeah. It's like in Moon Knight, give me the body.
Yeah, give me the body.
They're sitting there arguing, Jesse, give me the body. He's like, no, I'm not giving you the body.
Take the body.
But he, even when I like when he throws the glove out, he says, you son of a bitch, and he throws the glove at it. And even when the glass shatters, you still see like dimensions of Freddy in the glass, and he's like, and he's still like, he just kind of creeps around and looks. And that's when, the cops show up and he leaves. First of all, it took the cops like 20 years to get through that door.
Right?
Like, bro, just kick in the door. And they're like, son, hey, open up. Hey, it's the police.
Yeah, and also, there's like claw marks through that door.
I know,
with blood
right?
Coming out. Like that you throw what's it called? Professionalism out the door. It's get this meek fuck, because he just killed a grown ass man.
Yeah. You know what else we didn't talk about yet? There's two things we haven't talked about. It's the pool party massacre, which we're about to get to in the ending of the film. And then there's also touch me, baby, drive me
We could glance
crazy,
over that and then talk about the ending of the movie.
All night long. I love that scene.
But
man.
yeah, that
it's
was
so
weird.
Cool. That's another thing, though.
It's such an 80s thing, though. That's like every single 80s movie back then just needed to have like some type of like dance montage of like some pop song. And yeah, sure, I'll take that. Like that's like a staple. That's like if you're in an 80s movie, you're not in an 80s movie unless you have like a dance scene with like a pop music coming on.
Yeah.
Like that's
Well, and Mark Patton said he wishes he could erase that from his filmography. Dude,
too
I think it's
bad.
great. I think it's awesome.
Too bad. That shit
Like,
solidified.
it's really cool, man. It's a really fun scene. I actually really dig that scene. I enjoy it.
You enjoyed it a little too much, dog.
No, I think it's kind of cool. It adds something kind of fun to it, and even when Lisa shows up with her mom and she's like, or whatever. Even look at it, his door. He has a "No Chicks Allowed" sign on his door.
What do we do here, guys?
It is laced in the plot. You can almost say it's not even subtext at that point. Now the pool party, we've never really seen Freddy, and the end of the film, we've never really seen Freddy go, we've never seen him go ham like that until that moment, and it's dope. Like when he, we already talked about the whole Lisa chase scene, when he flies out of the pool thing and he's just slashing at people. And I'll tell you what, the worst death in the movie is, though, it's the dude, the poor guy that gets stepped on. When everybody, they're all trying to jump the fence.
That's
whatever.
and
it just shows
herd feared. Yeah, he just gets trampled.
And it's weird because like they step on his face and blood is like just like coming out of his mouth and stuff. It's like, I don't know if that's how that works, but I mean, you went for it.
I mean, when you got a blood packet in there and you get stepped on, it kind of does pop.
I know, right? But like that whole scene was awesome when the guy comes up to him and you get this shot from the thumbnail. I love that shot when he's standing by the pool and he just looks pissed and he's kind of doing this like he's scraping all the knives against each other while the guy's talking. And I think it's funny when the dad comes out and shoots. The dad comes out and shoots and he's like, did you just shoot at me? Like, you asshole. You really just took a shot at me, didn't you?
Oh yeah, when the flames came out and you saw his like eyes, he's like,
and his eyes are bloodshot and red.
Yeah, it's like that. That's the scariest scene. I'll be honest, right there. That was a good scene.
He looks pissed and his teeth look good. It's such a good, cool shot. The end is a little lackluster for me. I think the climax for me, the coolest moment is that pool massacre. Like when he throws the guy on the fire and the grill and all that stuff. Like that's really cool. But like,
I'd take that over the bullshit bus scene.
I know. Well, not even the bus scene. The bus scene is fine. I do like it. I hate it when the friend goes.
Chainsaw Massacre bus scene.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
Yeah.
I hate it at the very end when she goes, "It's okay. It's all over," and his hand flies. It's like, you couldn't have come up with something better for that chick to say than go, "It's okay, Jesse."
Oh yeah, I forgot that's how it started. Jesus.
And it's just like boom, and then his hand comes out and the bus flies off into the desert. But the worst part of the movie, I think, for me, is like we go pretty strong until we get to the boiler room, to the industrial park type thing. And even when Jesse and Lisa go there before and she's showing him like this is where he worked and this is where he took the kids to like, abuse them and do whatever else and kill them eventually. Like it kind of drags, and I don't like and you all might, let us know if you do. I don't like the dog with the baby face on it. I think it looks
weird.
It's weird. And if it was done a little bit better, I definitely feel like at that point they ran out of budget. You know what I mean? They were running out of money once it got time to film that part. Like, I think it was kind of like, okay, we gotta, it looked like a Rottweiler with a baby mask on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and honestly, I was gonna say this, like the way Freddy was acting at the boiler room, it almost seemed as if he was like, seemed as if he was like the Scarlet Witch, like he was like controlling reality to his own benefit, like. Yeah. Like he has control of reality now. It's like that's a lot of power.
Even when did he snap? Like when all the sides of it like catch on fire, like the railings and stuff. Didn't he like snap, or he did something and,
to like activate
it? Touched it with the It was strange. I don't know. The ending doesn't quite work for me. Even the whole "I'm melted." He doesn't say I'm melting, but like, could you imagine?
It's just the rules in this thing really confuses me.
Like,
yeah, it's just the rules in this thing. Like, it's like, how did he? Like, I don't understand how he got his powers. I don't know how he's able to possess Jesse. I don't know how he's able to come out of Jesse's twat. And then I don't know how the fuck he was able to control these dogs and like start fire and like all of a sudden have these reality powers. Like, where does, like, I don't understand.
But you even get like the possum or the rat or whatever it is that like, you get that weird scene, and it's just like, what is happening? Oh, is this real? Is she dreaming? Because like, I can almost figure out I can almost accept the fact that like Freddy is coming out of Jesse. But now, where are the dogs coming from? Where is the rat or the possum or whatever the hell it was coming from? Like, where is all this extra stuff? The fire, the goop, like what? You know what I mean? Like, how is he doing that? Does Freddy have more power than we've ever given him credit for? Even when she kisses him, like you said, you didn't like the whole kissing him scene, like, which is gross, like nasty.
That's a long shot for Lisa to do.
I know, right? His breath smells like butthole and
it smells like Badussy. Badussy is what it smells like, I'm sure.
I don't know. The ending is a little bit like I said, everything after the pool party scene is kind of like it's okay. Like I'm not
it's
super,
pretty mid,
super wild about it. But I will say the caveat to this, and I've seen a few people talk about this. I briefly mentioned it in our commentary, but I know Mike has talked about it over at We Watched a Movie some as well. You can honestly, the caveat to this is that you could almost say everything in this movie didn't happen or didn't happen yet. You could say this entire movie is Jesse's dream because the fact that the movie begins with the bus going out into the field and ends with the bus going out into the field, like you could almost say maybe the ending is the start of Jesse's real nightmare. You know what I mean? Maybe the fact that you had this whole sexual thing with Freddy, maybe that was like Jesse's subconscious, Freddy really was just in his mind and it was a symbol of him, his repressed sexuality and things like that. So, I mean, it's an interesting.
I mean, maybe, but it's the fact that it wasn't established, which makes it stupid.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting concept, and I do appreciate and get what they were going for. Real quick before we get out of here, I wanted to kind of just look at some of the critic reviews on
who the fuck is Cam Newman? What the fuck is up with? He looks like Robert Englund right now.
Jason
and he's a
Bailey,
top critic. Jesus Christ!
Jason Bailey says the sequel is clunky, sluggish, poorly cast, not funny, and worst of all, not scary. And it all but dispenses with what made the first film scary to begin with. I disagree with that, but whatever. Possibly the lamest of all the sequels, though 5 and 6 set the bar pretty low. This is not the lamest of all the sequels. I will just say that. Episodic treatment is punched up by an imaginative series of special effects. From Variety, Mr. Patton and Miss Myers make likable teenage heroes, and Mr. Englund actually turns Freddy into a welcome presence. That's an interesting.
I'll accept the Freddy comments.
Trace Thurman from the Horror Queers podcast, a review from a couple years ago. The queer subtext is arguably the most interesting part of this film, but it's undone by a heteronormative and anticlimactic finale.
That's what I'm saying right there.
Climax
someone already said it like that.
It really is.
Someone's already said that out loud. That the
fact
that this whole like
the subtext is the coolest part of the movie.
No, it's the fact that like it was underdone. It was undone by heteronormative and anticlimactic finale, like by how Lisa had to kiss Freddy to release Jesse. Like
I agree with that
again.
Completely.
It's a shitty,
and it doesn't make sense because they already made out. They were literally making out, and he was kissing her boobs on the floor.
Yeah, like how did that not?
I don't know.
How did that not take Freddy out? Like, makes no sense.
Yeah, I don't know. Just a couple more. Mike Massey. The scares are already less effective than before, especially when they're derived from something as goofy as a spontaneous bird combustion. That was pretty dumb. Or revenge against the gym teacher. The bird thing. I'm not wild about the bird thing. That was kind of strange.
The bird thing really made no fucking sense.
Joe Lipsett says Freddy is a threat to Jesse's burgeoning queerness. He's a manifestation of Jesse's own internalized homophobia. I don't know if I'd say that. So when similar sexual situations arise that might naturally encourage Jesse to consider his unorthodox for the 80s, quote unquote, sexuality, Freddy pops out. That part might be kind of true. Would you agree?
Brother, what?
You look baffled.
Freddy's is a threat to Jesse's burgeoning queerness. He is a manifestation of Jesse's own internalized homophobia.
I don't think you could say Jesse was homophobic. I don't think that.
Yeah, he wasn't. So when the sexual situation arises that might naturally encourage Jesse to consider his unorthodox for the 80s sexuality, Freddy pops out. No, it has nothing to do with his homophobia. It was just
And
the fact that
that guy's from Bloody Disgusting. I don't know. That sounds like it's being taken way too seriously. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That seems like a way too serious review. And then C.H. Newell, Father, Son, Holy Gore, says an allegory about the dangers of being forced to repress your sexuality, and also a fun slice of Freddy's nightmare world. I mean, that's pretty cool. I agree with that. Look, like we said, this movie's got a million problems. It really does, but it works in a weird, strange way. This movie works, and it's definitely in my top 3, maybe even top 2 of the Freddy franchise. I like this movie. So, and I think that Mark Patton and Kim Myers and everyone, I forget the guy who's played Grady, I forget his name. They did great as our 2 main protagonists. Robert Englund was arguably, again, the best he's ever played Freddy. Which I think he actually played him really well. I didn't like the makeup as much in Freddy vs. Jason, but Robert Englund played him really well in Freddy vs. Jason as well. So,
Yeah.
So that's Freddy's Revenge, man. It's definitely a fun movie, and I'm looking forward to doing part 3, because part 3 kind of, they're all kind of strange in their own way. Like part 3 does go back to the formula a little bit, but at the same time, we go back to the formula while still kind of churning it out into something a little bit new with kind of what you're allowed to do in your dream. And it's, part 3, we kind of play around with the thought that, Freddy can do all these weird things in your dreams, but so can you, and it's
like that.
It's different. Yeah. Like, it's, I don't know. It's interesting. We'll get there, but thank you guys so much for joining us for episode number 12 of Purely and Simply Evil. Talking A Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge. We will be back with part 3 later on. We may throw in some extras. We might take a little break from Elm Street for a couple films. We're not sure what those are going to be, but please be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at We Talk the Movies, and we'll have announcements for those real soon. Again, in season 2, we are checking out all of the Elm Street films, except for the remake. We're going to save the remake for a season that we dedicate to all of those 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, 2010s remakes of those films. So it's going to be a really fun time. We will be back on Tuesday for episode number 72 of not of Purely and Simple Evil, of Let's Talk Movies. Not sure what that'll be on, but again, follow us and you'll find out. So you see it right there. It's on the bottom of the screen. It's been on the bottom of the screen. Just go find us and follow it. It's not that hard. Do your job. Subscribe to the channel. I feel like I'm a dick boss. I feel like I'm the dad. You need a methadone clinic. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with us. If you haven't, please leave this episode a like and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear what you think of Freddy's Revenge. So take it easy. Share us with a friend. You guys are awesome. Have a great rest of your weekend. Peace.
Peace.
Touch me, baby.
I actually wasn't going for that. I was
different ways.
I was going for "You Are All My Children" now, but yeah, touch me, baby, drive me crazy, touch me.